Hey guys, it's Channel Weird. I'm Clyde Lewis, and beautiful spring day in Oregon today. Can't believe it. It's January and it's beautiful out. We've had some nice temperatures. Things have been kind of wonky, but it's nice to be here. It's nice to say hello to everybody. Today's show is well. Let me just say this: I always thought that maybe I was really strange, outrageous, and I cause a lot of trouble by what I talk about, but there's somebody even tops me. Somebody that even tops. I would even say Howard Stern, Josh Rogan, and he's an Oregon native. Moved to Los Angeles. Actor, writer, producer. He's been in several films, and now he does his own thing with Beyond the News. I don't know if you've seen it on YouTube, but certainly biting satire. He does it. He does it because, well, it's a lot. Rod Harrel is with us. Rod Harrel, welcome to Channel Weird. I see you're wearing your mask.
Yes, I'm wearing my mask. It's difficult to breathe, however, Clyde.
Well, you don't have to wear a mask. I don't think I'm
Oh,
contagious. I don't think you are either.
I have my Glasgow Smythe and Klein Instavax. Carry it with you wherever you go. Instavax. Are we done with this?
Instavax.
Are we done with this so I can take this off?
Well, if you want to keep being vaxxed, I mean, I know a lot of people.
Not at all.
They're like booster. They're addicted to getting boosted. So, I mean, I guess you ought to patent that or something, because I mean, I'm sure a lot of people would love the clown mask and the vax booster. Instavax. Copyright that. Put a TM on it, damn it. You got to do that. So how you been, man? I mean, you haven't been in Portland for a while, but you're now in sunny LA and still doing the crazy stuff. What's up?
I'm still doing the crazy stuff. I'm still trying to survive as a segregated citizen in fascist Los Angeles.
I don't know. Maybe fascist Los Angeles is better than fascist Oregon. I don't know about that.
I don't know. I can go to the grocery store. I can go to the liquor store. But I can't go anywhere else.
Have you been to the liquor store so far this morning? I mean, maybe too early to be drinking anything, right?
No. See?
What you got? Oh, okay. So you've been busy this morning already. You've been hitting the sauce a little bit, right?
Prop comedy. It's prop comedy, folks. It's prop comedy.
That's the inspiration. You have to have a little. You have to have a little liquid inspiration before you do this show today, right? Okay.
How have you been, Clyde?
I've been well. You seem to be, like I say, you seem to be doing really well. I'm glad for your success. But should I say, your success is so outrageous, and I was talking with your, I guess you say, compatriot in crime, Mr. Eric Sloan today.
Yes, Eric Sloan.
And he was telling me, he says, refer to him as a rabble rouser. And I says, God, what century are we in? You're more than a rabble rouser. You're Beyond the News.
That's
is
right,
big on. It's up there with the likes of Mark Dice and others who basically parody or skewer or roast or, I don't know, send up the system, because the system is just so stupid right now. What are your thoughts on that?
It's crazy. The system or the show?
Well, the system, first of all. I mean, it's just easy to pick on, really, but I mean, you do it in such a way where, I mean, like I say, biting comedy, biting satire. I don't know what else to call it. It's just outrageous.
For me, it's hypocrisy. I don't care what part of the political spectrum you fall on. It's hypocrisy. I don't like hypocrisy, and COVID-19 is the biggest hypocrisy of all. We used to call it the flu.
Yes. Yeah, we used to call it. And you see, I was reading today that apparently politics in general are making people sick. I mean, literally stressed, sick. Some people say nauseous. I say I agree. I mean, it's theater for the ugly. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, okay. I mean, I started Beyond the News on February 21st, 2020. Seems so long ago. And I was doing it because of politics. I wanted to expose the sham elections because it was the primaries. And
Mhm.
then a few weeks later, of course, everything changed with the COVID. So I've always been interested in the political aspect of our country, but I think people have their different theories. You could call it the the Wall Street Party, the Party of the Elites. I just call it the War Party. You know. Oh, hello. I can see the thing here. Hello.
Well,
I
it's
don't, I
been
don't, I don't like them. I think they're dangerous. I agree with
right.
John Lennon. They're lunatics. We're run by lunatics.
Well,
They're
it's like you
all,
you heard about this what they call massive formation psychosis. It's been the
yes.
buzzword trending on the internet right now, and I had called it psychochondria for some time, saying that why is it that we lose all rationality? And I think you've exposed many times not just the hypocrisy, but how we're dealing with psychopaths.
It is. It's totally irrational. I mean, you, you can say that. I don't know what the number is. I lose track. I guess it's over 800,000 COVID deaths in America. And you could tell people, it's like, well, God, it's Spanish flu. I'm sorry, the Fort Riley flu. The Spanish flu killed that many people in the United States in 1 year, but this is somehow worse. And the mask thing, it's like 1 week is like, don't wear masks. The next week, wear masks. It's, I think it's deliberately irrational. What do you think, Clyde? I think they're deliberately making this confusing to screw with everyone's heads.
Well, when you like, I always say that when you confuse Americans, they do nothing. And it's because it's like you want to avoid being confused, you want to be wrong, but never in my life have I seen such incongruency. In fact, it's to the point where I was even speculating that we're in a paradox, some sort of a time warp where we're in some everything has to be adversarial, everything has to be passionately stupid, where it's like that's what makes your humor in Beyond the News so right on the money, because
Oh, thank
I
you.
watch it religiously, and I sit there and I say, Rod, just sometimes I think you just go overboard, but then when I read the news, I'm thinking, no, you're tame compared to what the news is doing. I mean, what you do is really over the top. I think a lot of people would say that. What do you think?
I think it is too. But it is. It's hard for me. It's hard for me to keep up with the absurdities. People like go, where do you get your material? I go, I watch the news. That's all you have to do. It's just crazy.
They've lost. They're also polling saying that people have lost interest in the media. They don't trust the media anymore.
Why should
And
they?
oh, I agree, but it's weird because I keep seeing these polls. President's popularity in the crapper, media. No one cares about it anymore. They don't like it. People getting sick to their stomachs about politics, but I don't see anything happening. I don't see anyone standing up and saying, "Oh, by the way, the line's been drawn." You know, and I love the phrase I'm seeing on the internet: "Fuck around and find out." And I'm wondering when is that going to change? When is that going to mean something? People are screwing around with people's minds, their livelihoods. It's like, yeah, and we just sit there and take it.
There's a there's massive protests in Europe, right,
Hmm.
and other places, but hardly anything here. It's just like America. There's Canada. Uh, I hate to use the word sheep, but I can't think of a better word. It's like just a bunch of scared sheep.
I
I
just
think wearing the mask gives people some form of power. Like they can look at you and go, "Hey, you, stop! You're not wearing your mask." It's like, and people don't like. It's like, would you stop? Would you just stop comparing this to Nazi Germany? And I'm like, well, then stop being like
make.
Nazi Germany. Then I'll stop comparing you.
I agree. I mean, I've been finding myself. I hear. Well, it's okay for the media to use Nazi Germany terms like the big lie. And it's okay to treat January 6th like it's the Reichstag fire. It's okay for them to basically point out Nazisms or Nazi type of things. But when somebody says, "Wait a minute, you're acting like the very Nazis you want to eliminate," and they get all irate about it, and you're like going, "But take a look at history." I've
I
always,
know.
I was on the air and I said something to the effect, I said, "The oppressors have always been the bad guys." Am I right or wrong here?
Yes. Presidents have always been the bad guys, but now they're the good guys.
I know it's just odd, and and
It, it,
and
it's
and
like
they
it,
always, yeah, go
it's
ahead.
like it was like everyone sort of agreed 20 years ago. For you younger viewers, there was the endless war started 20 years ago. In case you don't know, so 20 years ago, everyone knew that Dick Cheney and George W. Bush were war criminals, right?
Right.
Flash forward 16, 17 years, and the Democrats are, hugging them and sharing candy with them at funerals and stuff. It's very crazy because there is no
Used to be Dick
opposition
Cheney was
party.
Darth Vader. What happened? I mean, he still is, in my opinion, Darth Vader. But
Yes,
yeah, you're right. I remember when George W. Bush died, and I did a show and I talked about his ties with the CIA, possibly tied to the Kennedy assassination, all of these things, and people were saying, "How dare you?" And I'm like going, "But the guy is a dirty douchebag. Why why is it that I can't speak ill of a guy that I know is a war criminal?" Or I mean, come on, are we like kidding ourselves? What's going on here?
it's like everything changes. Like things I learned in eighth grade science no longer apply either, right?
Yeah.
Asymptomatic. Well, that means I'm not sick.
It's so true. That's what I thought too. Is, you know what asymptomatic means? It means you're not sick. It's like you have no disease to give, and yet you're supposed to wear a mask because they remember those. You weren't here. I forget that you're Los Angeles. So here in Oregon, they had these PSAs that I guess Kate Brown gave her approval to, where it was the Portland Health Authority saying, you know, it was almost to the point. I think they actually said it. Don't kill grandma. You know, oh no, it was who have you killed today? You go outside without a mask, and they say, "Who have you killed today?" And I'm like, "Are you kidding me? Who have you killed today?" That's how. I mean, and you're over the top, Rod. I
I'm
mean,
over the
being on
top.
the news is over the top, but you can actually say, "Did you kill Grandma today?" Or "Who have you killed today?" Because you don't wear a mask. It's just weird. We live in weird times.
Thank God we're on Channel Weird.
You're a troubled man for troubled times, Rod. That's what you
Um,
are.
we had a curfew early on here back in the good old days. And I would go out, I would do shows. I would actually go outside during the curfew, just and hoping, just praying a cop would come by, start beating me up. But I'm white, so
I remember I first started watching Beyond the News. It was before you even did characters and puppets and all that stuff. I started watching it back when the methane leak was happening. You remember the methane leak back in L.A. and they were all uh, uh, saying stuff about how they weren't saying anything about that being a greenhouse gas, but yet they didn't want to turn it down. It was almost like they wanted to alter the climate in California so they could prove, aha, see, we have climate change going on. And you remember that?
yeah. Uh, it's been very cool this winter here. I think at the time, I think it was that the Aliso Canyon leak. I
Yeah,
think is what it was.
right.
I actually at the time. I only lived 5 miles from that.
Oh my
You
God.
you you could go outside in the morning, ah,
It smells like grandma farted out here.
and nobody, and it wasn't a big deal. It should have been a big deal. I mean, the reaction to COVID should have been from the government. That is, the reaction to COVID from the government should have been the reaction to that leak.
Right.
You
And
know,
how long did that leak
who's going to
happen?
make
Because
money off the leak?
how long did that go on? Because that was enough to alter the climate in that area of California, I think, threefold.
I can't remember. I'm just guessing. 10 months, 11 months. It was a
10
long time.
months.
It was a
10
long.
months of methane leaking into the atmosphere, and they did absolutely nothing. I think that, after watching you and when you commented on it, I was thinking to myself, you know, that's being done on purpose. That's by design. And there's no conspiracy theory behind that. They were doing that on purpose. What do you think?
They had people, they had to remove people from the neighborhood for a while and put them up in hotels. That sounds familiar, doesn't it? Now they call it quarantine. We'll put you in a nice hotel.
I got shut down. I was posting the Washington story with regard to them rethinking their quarantine, what they call quarantine sites. And I got shut down on Facebook because I called them concentration camps. I guess you can't use the term concentration camp without raising the ire of the bots on Facebook because they say, oh, this isn't factual. And yet I went out to Goldendale, Washington, and I found all these trailers lined up that were going to be used. And
I saw that. I saw that one. That one.
But see, that's the thing is that you have been let's talk about censorship for a moment. What's that? Oh, let's take a break, and I want to talk about censorship because you have been, I don't know if you can call it victimized, but you've been under the radar, so to speak, of the censors and the cancel culture. It's so great to have Rod Harrel on today on Channel Weird. We'll be back with more of the hijinks and funniness of this rabble rouser right here on Channel Weird. Don't go away.
It's a well-known fact that controversial talk show hosts have recently been censored and even banned on the internet by corporate and political interests. Hey guys, it's Clyde Lewis from Ground Zero. And in order to counter the suppression of information, we've decided to create our own private digital playground called Aftermath. It's an exclusive online multimedia library featuring a social media platform, videos, audio clips, archive shows, research groups, documents, and a news aggregator. In addition, we're hosting other Ground Zero friendly podcasts like Conspirafact with Wes and Bill, Into the Microcosm with Jimmy Jean, Pair Awareness with Mr. Gates and Isaac Weishaupt, Opposing Perspective with James Ponder, The Infinite Fringe with Billy Ray Valentine, and several more shows. Mobile apps for Android and Apple are available too. The monthly subscription for Aftermath is only $10 a month. And don't forget to check out the yearly specials, including the Friends and Family Pass with one main account and 3 sub-accounts. Sign up now by going to aftermath.media. Again, that's aftermath.media.
On the phone with me is Ronnie from getthetea.com. Hey, Ronnie, it is the tea that makes you go, I know this because I use it. My favorite is pomegranate. What kind of flavors are there to choose from with this wonderful tea?
You can do pomegranate. You can do just the straight, which is real good. And also we have a mint, a peppermint. People really love that one too. And we have a couple new flavors on the way, which I will not discuss yet, but they're coming.
A lot of people don't know that peppermint is a very, very good supplement to keep the stomach happy. It relaxes the intestines, and once again, it makes you feel better because it allows them to move around and get that stuff out of you, that bad stuff out of you.
Absolutely. This is a digest mover. So people have a hard time digesting stuff, or you get something stuck, or maybe you're a real heavy meat eater. The tea is wonderful. That's why it's tagline, the tea that makes you go.
If I want my life to change and get the tea, where do I go to get it?
Getthetea.com. That's getthetea, TEA.com.
Fantastic.
Ground Zero with Clyde Lewis. Live Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific. But what happens when you miss an episode? Aftermath.fm is the official free streaming network of Ground Zero, featuring some of the top voices in paranormal and parapolitical radio and podcasts, such as The Leo Zagami Show, Into the Microcosm with Jimmy Jean, The Secret Teachings with Ryan Gable, The Kev Baker Show, The Infinite Fringe with Billy Ray Valentine, and much, much more. What are you waiting for? Head on over to Aftermath.fm right now and get complete on-demand access to the Ground Zero archives, as well as the works of a dozen other hosts. Sign up right now and get complete access to our study groups, videos, and document archives, and connect with other listeners on our private social media network. Aftermath.fm, home of quality counterculture talk radio. Aftermath.fm.
It's Channel Weird, and I'm Clyde Lewis. With us is Rod Harrel. Rod is a guy who does a video on YouTube called Beyond the News, and he's got characters. He does puppets. He does a lot of comedy. He's got a background in acting and has been in several movies. You may have heard of what's that? You're in a movie with George Clooney. You were in
He
gosh,
directed it. He wasn't in it. He directed it.
Caesar. Well, you were in that Caesar movie, weren't you? Hail Caesar.
They cut me out.
Oh, I thought you were in Hail Caesar. Where was it where you're having dinner and you're sitting there eating?
I was in a nightclub, but I think they cut that scene out.
I swear you were in one film and I saw you, and I was like, going, wait a minute, that's Rod Harrel.
I was in this thing called oh crap, it's an industry term, not outtake, something I can't even remember. That's horrible. Anyway, I beat up a gay guy. Maybe, I don't know, but that was fictional.
Yeah, fictional.
But I have to say, Clyde, I don't do new Beyond the News shows on YouTube anymore because they censored me. We were
Tell me about what happened with that. Tell me what was it that got you censored? Because I know that there have been times when you did public access here in Portland, you actually got banned too, or something happened where you were having some controversy with regard to nudity.
Yeah, back in the 90s when I did cable access in Portland, I got death threats because I don't know why, because people are nuts. So I'm on BitChute. Here's what happens. It's like, I consider myself a socialist. Shocks everybody, maybe, I don't know. But anyway, so I'm on YouTube. I'm doing the show. I did like 100 shows already. And they started taking them down and saying, we're taking this down because you're spreading medical misinformation. And I'm like going, I'm not even a doctor. And I appealed, but they wouldn't let it go. So I went to BitChute. Right, I had to go to the right, a right-wing place to let me. So I've been on BitChute for 6 months now. So if you want to, you go to BitChute, and type in Beyond the News, and you'll find it. And the 6 months I've been on BitChute, I got 10,000 views. And on YouTube, my shows were averaging, 40 views. It was crazy. And I don't do any PR. I'm not like you, Clyde. Don't have that fancy big PR budget.
Who has PR budgets? Mine's word of mouth, dude. I've been at it now tenaciously for about 27 years. So, eventually someone's got to say, who's this guy? So why should I listen to this guy? It's just Clyde. What do I care?
It's like before COVID, there's no mask littering, right? There must be billions of masks are thrown away every day. Think about that. Why would the mask people want to stop this? It's a great moneymaker.
Well, see, that's what I was thinking too. Back when when COVID first came out, and Fauci said, "Don't wear a mask," and I was thinking to myself, "Well, what's going to happen to all these people that invested in masks?" Oh, who's that?
It's Dr. Fauci himself. Hello, I'm Dr. Fauci. Wear a mask. Don't wear a mask.
Yeah, he is a reptile, isn't he?
Talk about big budgets.
There you go. Well, there you go. He could be anybody. He could be Bill Gates. My problem is Bill Gates. He's the guy that I just every time he comes on TV and he's like waving his hands and smiling and laughing every time he talks about 10 million dead. And I'm thinking, how do we follow a guy like that? That people say, "Oh, he's so wonderful and he's so philanthropic and blah blah blah." And I'm like going, "The guy's a Malthusian. He no sooner kill you than try to cure you."
Yes, of course. Bill Gates got his doctorate degree in, I don't know, crazy university. Now on the show, I don't do. This on the show. This is Fauci, right? And Jeff Bezos is just me doing this in front of the camera. But Bill Gates, do you remember the Star Trek episode with Nomad, the little space probe?
Yeah.
Nomad.
Error. Nomad. Error.
So that's Bill Gates. Whenever I do Bill Gates on the show, I just show a picture of Nomad and do the voiceover. Sterilize imperfections. That's basically what he is. He's Nomad.
He is I never thought of it that way. He is Nomad. I just again, watching what you do is I believe right up there with South Park in that you laugh out loud and it's liberating. And that's the problem we're having right now. I think it was Steve Harvey that recently said that he's not going to do comedy anymore because he said that you just can't. The cancel culture and a lot of other people, they're just so sensitive to comedy, sensitive to satire. I mean, it's just nothing's funny anymore because comedy has to be cruel in a lot of senses. It has to expose, some of the, like you say, the hypocrisy and the other stuff that we see, and people don't like to be anymore. They don't like to be shown just how hypocritical we've become.
If people are so invested in this COVID thing, it would be hard for them to admit they were wrong. My landlord did, bless his heart, because at first he was locked away in his house, wouldn't let anybody in. But after a few months, he started doing research, and he came around. He doesn't, he admits they fooled me. I was fooled. They made me scared, and he's angry, right? I'm angry.
Yeah, I think it was CNN that made the statement. They said something to the effect that says the problem right now is that people are doing their own research. Don't do your own research, they said, because it's just going to make you think, the wrong things about
Have
COVID.
you been doing your own research?
No, don't question. The enemy of the state is questioned. Tell us what you know.
It's this memory thing. Like I was really involved in the 80s and 90s in Portland theater.
Yeah.
And of course, I knew some people in theater who, weren't heterosexual. And a lot of my friends died during that period because of HIV and AIDS. And so I remember Dr. Fauci from the 80s. We hated Dr. Fauci in the 80s, right? So imagine my surprise, fast forward, to March 2020, and the face of the government is Dr. Fauci. And I'm trying to tell people, he killed all my friends in the 80s, and they look at me like, so it's also like this, speaking of Star Trek, what is that thing? Like they're erasing people's minds. I remember the 80s. I remember Dr. Fauci was burned in effigy in the 80s, for God's sake. And now he's
I remember too. Well, see, I for example, you take a look at Monsanto. Monsanto was responsible for Agent Orange. They were responsible and Bayer, the company that they're partnering with, was responsible for Cyclone B. And so you have these two companies notorious for creating chemicals that kill people. And all of a sudden, they have all these answers with regard to what we need for nutrition: GMO foods, corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup, all the other additives they put in food. And we're supposed to believe that a company that made its money off of chemically killing people is now a company that makes chemicals and all kinds of other stuff that are supposed to help people. I mean, glyphosate sounds like something you just want to sit down and have breakfast. Let's have a bowl of glyphosate when we're eating our Wheaties.
Like
it just bothers me.
Klein.
What's GlaxoSmithKline?
No, I can't say that. It's a satire, so it's Glasgow, Smythe, and Klein. Yeah, those guys, and Pfizer.
Yes.
And it's like Bernie Sanders, right? What? Just a few years ago, was like, Big Pharma, kill Big Pharma, right? And then everyone loves Big Pharma all of a sudden. I'm like, I missed the memo. Did you get the memo, Clyde? Because I missed the memo.
Well, if you watch I watch news feverishly because I want to try to find something that I can talk about on my show that's idiotic. I mean, because I'm a conspiracy theorist, as everybody somehow says I am. But it's, I noticed that everything on the news is brought to you by Pfizer. Brought to you by Pfizer. January 6th rebellion, brought to you by Pfizer. And I'm thinking, what news organization is going to speak ill of the hand that feeds them?
Yeah,
they're not.
If you get 70% of your revenue from a certain place, you're not going to say anything bad about them. Did you see that clip? Someone put a clip up. I saw it on Twitter, but it was like and I put it on my show. Fair Use Act.
Right.
Like a 2.5 minute clip, and I don't usually put long clips like that on the show, but it was great because it just had introductions to shows after introductions. Like dozens of these shows, like whatever the one George Shortenopoulos does, and Meet the Press and all these different shows. It brought to you by Pfizer. And I don't know who put it together, but it was great. It was like 2 minutes, one after another. Brought to you by Pfizer. I mean, and that's the crazy thing about the COVID thing. It's like it's constant bombardment. It's 24/7. I haven't watched television for a week because I just couldn't stand it anymore. Instead, I've been going back in time and watching Law and Order.
I watch the Munsters, actually. That's what I do. I go back. Law and Order.
Law and Order.
Law and Order. I watch the
There we
Munsters,
go.
actually, or I watch old SNL reruns when they were funny and they didn't have that murderer, what's his name, Alec Baldwin, playing Donald Trump.
The gun did it. Come on.
Yeah, the gun did it. I didn't pull the trigger. Yeah, can you believe that? He didn't pull the trigger. And yet we keep hearing that he did, but now the media somehow convinced us that he's not pulled the trigger.
Isn't that that's what we've been talking about? It's like your reality is constantly being fucked with, right? Like Alan Baldwin said, Alan is his younger brother.
Right.
You pulled the trigger. He didn't pull the trigger, and it's like, I can't pay the rent. You must pay the rent. It's just.
Yeah, I felt that way when I was watching the Kyle Rittenhouse trial, actually, because I was thinking to myself, the court says one thing and the media says another thing. And then even after they ruled him to be not guilty, the media was still saying, he carried the gun over state lines. His mother drove him there. He was a minor, didn't have the right to carry a gun. All this other stuff about him, that he killed 3 black men when he didn't. One of the guys he killed was a pedophile, and they never reported that. So I don't know. I mean, it's like you can't trust the media anymore. And so it's funny. The only way you can ascertain, any sanity at all is to have people like you out there that are parodying or satiring the news. But then you get shut down. You get shut down because you're in your. What's that?
You're right. I mean, I have BitChute. Obviously, when I put a new video on BitChute, it gets a little, like I don't know what you call it, like the little thing at the top, like latest releases. I have a Gab account and I have a Twitter account, and that's the only way I get the show out there, by doing links. And I got kicked. My Twitter account was suspended last week because I don't know why, because they never tell you why. That's the great thing about it. So I actually, I typed in, it's like, why are you motherfuckers getting, and they brought me back. I don't know why.
I've been struck down,
they'll
3 or 4
shut me down
times.
again. They shut me down all the time.
Yeah, well, it's it's like they
I mean, it's great watching this 1990. It's like they're driving. Oh my God! I just had an idea about something, right? And they have to pull over and go to a payphone. It's so weird watching it. It's like,
what happened to cell phones?
They have to go to a payphone, and when people are walking down the street in New York, they're walking like this, right? They're walking like this down the street, as opposed to today where they're walking like this.
I think things are so bad that I'm right now I'm kind of binge watching with my stepson Breaking Bad, because I can't stand the woke TV that I'm watching. I can't stand. I mean, wokeness is just another word for psychosis, I think. What do you say to that idea?
Didn't George Carlin say that political correctness was just, polite Nazism?
Yeah.
Sorry,
exactly.
George, if I'm quoting you badly. Sorry, George.
Well, we're going to take another break. It seems like everything just goes speeding through with our conversations right now. Rod Harrel with us, comedian, writer, and all-around rabble-rouser right on Ground Zero. Oh, sorry, I'm Channel Weird. We'll be back. Yeah.
On the phone with me is Ronnie from getthetea.com. Hey, Ronnie, it is the tea that makes you go, I know this because I use it. My favorite is pomegranate. What kind of flavors are there to choose from with this wonderful tea?
You can do pomegranate. You can do just the straight, which is real good. And also we have a mint, a peppermint. People really love that one too. And we have a couple new flavors on the way, which I will not discuss yet, but they're coming.
You know, a lot of people don't know that peppermint is a very, very good supplement to keep the stomach happy. It relaxes the intestines, and once again, it makes you feel better because it allows them to move around and get that stuff out of you, that bad stuff out of you.
Absolutely. This is a digest mover. So people have a hard time digesting stuff, or you get something stuck, or maybe you're a real heavy meat eater. The tea is wonderful. That's why it's taglined, the tea that makes you go.
If I want my life to change and get the tea, where do I go to get it?
Getthetea.com. That's getthetea, TEA.com.
Fantastic. It's a well-known fact that controversial talk show hosts have recently been censored and even banned on the internet by corporate and political interests. Hey guys, it's Clyde Lewis from Ground Zero. And in order to counter the suppression of information, we've decided to create our own private digital playground called Aftermath. It's an exclusive online multimedia library featuring a social media platform, videos, audio clips, archive shows, research groups, documents, and a news aggregator. In addition, we're hosting other Ground Zero friendly podcasts like Conspirafact with Wes and Bill, Into the Microcosm with Jimmy Jean, Para Awareness with Mr. Gates and Isaac Weishaupt, Opposing Perspective with James Ponder, The Infinite Fringe with Billy Ray Valentine, and several more shows. Mobile apps for Android and Apple are available too. The monthly subscription for Aftermath is only $10 a month. And don't forget to check out the yearly specials, including the Friends and Family Pass with one main account and 3 sub-accounts. Sign up now by going to aftermath.media. Again, that's aftermath.media.
AncientLifeOil.com. That's AncientLifeOil.com. Are you stressed? I mean, who isn't? Anxiety creeping in? No, not that. Is sleep hard to attain because your brain just won't slow down? We're living in crazy times, and the fear knob has been turned up. Okay, there's an answer. Take a big breath, exhale, and go log on to AncientLifeOil.com. CBD, broad and full spectrum, organic and non-GMO CBD for you to enjoy. Change your tune from fear to calm, from brain overload to clear thinking. 0.003 THC on full spectrum and 0% THC on broad spectrum. Competitive pricing with the best quality. Also know everything is going to get better. No worries, be happy. CBD can help calm so your nerves don't think they're a 6-string electric guitar. Enjoy life, smile, and log on to AncientLifeOil.com for great CBD. That's AncientLifeOil.com. You'll be glad you did.
Ground Zero with Clyde Lewis, live Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific. But what happens when you miss an episode? Aftermath.fm is the official free streaming network of Ground Zero, featuring some of the top voices in paranormal and parapolitical radio and podcasts, such as The Leo Zagami Show, Into the Microcosm with Jimmy Jean, The Secret Teachings with Ryan Gable, The Kev Baker Show, The Infinite Fringe with Billy Ray Valentine, and much, much more. What are you waiting for? Head on over to Aftermath.fm right now and get complete on-demand access to the Ground Zero archives, as well as the works of a dozen other hosts. Sign up right now and get complete access to our study groups, videos, and document archives, and connect with other listeners on our private social media network. Aftermath.fm, home of quality counterculture talk radio. Aftermath.fm.
Channel Weird, I'm Clyde Lewis, Rod Harrel with us. And boy, funny stuff today. It's really, like I say, it's liberating to be laughing out loud at some of this nonsense. So what is are you the Lone Ranger? What are you?
No, this is my mask. No, it really is my mask. This is all I do.
That's your eating mask, is what that is.
The actual mask I wear.
And does anybody comment about it, or?
Sometimes.
Oh, that's the mask. What's that?
This is what it is, right? It's for sleeping, right?
Right. Oh, the eye thing for sleeping, but you wear it as a mask.
So I'm doing satire when I go outside because I thought the perfect mask is the thing that covers your eyes so you can fall asleep.
It'll cover your mouth so you can fall asleep too, because you're asleep at the wheel. You don't know what's going on. I yeah,
Yes.
when COVID is gone, because we're looking at hopefully
What?
the last vestiges of it. What are you going to do? Climate change? I mean, because climate change is another joke. I mean, it's like once we have once we have that in the rearview mirror, we don't worry about it anymore. I think we got the Great Reset to deal with. We got Build Back Better to
Oh,
deal with. We've got climate hokum to deal with. What are your thoughts?
I see. I see. So you're saying that once they're finished with the COVID psyop, what's the next psyop?
Right,
Oh my God! Well, you listed several right there.
right.
Uh, I think it's anyone's guess. It depends on the kind of research you're doing, right? I suppose. Um, I don't know. I really live in the moment sometimes, so it's hard for me to think beyond COVID. There's a new thing for the show, beyond COVID,
With Beyond the News, it's beyond COVID.
beyond the COVID.
Well, I mean, the media seems to know how to milk things because my stepson came downstairs the other day and I was watching CNN, and he said to me, he said he looked down like he was looking at a watch. And he says, "Okay, give it 40 seconds. 40 seconds. I'm waiting. January 6th. I'm waiting. January 6th." Sure enough, within 30 seconds, they're talking about January 6th and or Trump. He says either you're going to hear about Donald Trump or you're going to hear about January 6th in 30 seconds. Something bad about Trump or something bad about January 6th. He says, and sure enough, it was like he had it figured out. He said, "Why do you watch this when I know that within 30 seconds they're going to say something bad about Donald Trump or something bad about January 6th?" It seems to be, it just seems to be like, it's just something that continues.
Um, they're propaganda outlets for the government. That's all they are. That's probably all they've been for decades, right? What was it? One of the many CIA operations, the one where they infiltrated all the media. You
Right.
know, I mean, here we are. It's like 50, almost 60 years later after JFK was assassinated by a lone nut. And that's still, these guys, your Brian Williams, well, he's gone, but all these guys, they still push that. They still push
Right.
the myth. It's, it's the internet, folks. You can actually go on this thing called the internet and you could do research. It's scary. It's like, did you know that Martin Luther King Jr.'s family won a court case against the U.S. government proving that he was shot, assassinated by elements of the United States government?
Yeah,
Uh,
James Earl Ray. In fact, the whole family exonerated James Earl Ray.
you know,
Right.
but you don't know about that because the media won't report it. And then
It's
Robert
because
F.
they want to stick to an agenda. And if you notice now that I
Right.
don't know if you've noticed that CNN now has these
I don't watch that.
documentaries they put together where they're trying to rewrite history. Where you're
Oh,
watching it says
great.
the 70s, and they do this whole series about how the 70s went, or the 60s, or the 80s, and they're just rewriting history. None of that. A lot of that stuff. I said, wait a minute. That's not how I remember it. Again, they want to deal with our faulty memories. They want to deal with changing the timelines, and that's why I'm convinced that we are in a paradox right now. We just whatever they've done, whether they've tinkered with the timeline at CERN, whether they're tinkering with the timeline psychologically, or they're creating psychotics. I mean, it's like the reason why they're shutting down people like you is because you're telling us the harsh truth through comedy.
I just look. It's either you laugh or you cry at this point. I mean, I don't. I don't. I don't know. I don't think I ever really get outside of talking about my cat. I don't get personal on Beyond the News. But since this is a talk show and we're supposed to talk, I could get personal. I lost my mom and I lost my brother this past year, and because of COVID, well, you can only imagine. There hasn't been any. There's no funerals, right?
No.
My mom was in a home. No one could visit her. I think she didn't die of COVID. She was 93, but I think being put in a home and not and suddenly you're surrounded by strangers wearing masks and the family can't visit you except over the video thing.
Right.
I think it hastened her death. And I know there's tons, and you know this, Clyde, there's tons of stories around the world of people who have lost their, their close friends or family, and they can't see them, they can't go visit them, they can't do any of this stuff because this whole COVID psyop just controls every aspect of our life nearly. I mean, the Chinese were talking about the anal swabs for a while, but that didn't go over too well here. Ouch! Oh, ooh, that anal swab. But it's bad enough, They got. I don't have one, but they stick these things up here.
It's because they're collecting DNA, Rod. They want to connect.
I know.
They're collecting DNA. Same with everything. I was listening the other day to a commercial for Cologuard. Do your own colonoscopy at home. You do it yourself colonoscopy. And if you get a positive test, they say, well, go to your doctor and get a colonoscopy. Seriously, I was listening to the commercial and it said, it's like an do-it-yourself colonoscopy. But if you get a positive result, you have to make an appointment with your doctor to get a colonoscopy. So why the hell are you going to buy this Cologuard, this little guy in a box that walks around going, hey, I can examine your poop and tell you if you have cancer or not. And it's like, it doesn't make any sense. So figure it out. They want your DNA.
I'm not a big...
You have one? Is that what you got right there? Either you're spitting or bleeding or pooping in a cup, and they take your DNA. What kind of world are we living in right now?
It's so difficult. Well, you know about my personal health history.
Yes, so I do.
I'm like 8 months behind for my annual scan I'm supposed to get. I'm supposed to get a pelvic scan once every year, right?
Right.
It's 8 months behind. That's ridiculous. I was talking about people who, lost their friends or close family. That's another thing. These people who operations or critical tests are being, pushed aside, and it's all you anti-vaxxers' fault.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, what the hell, man? I thought we were all supposed to be in this together.
Do you want to hear something? You want to hear something hilarious?
I would love.
I'm getting a virtual cancer screening on the 21st. Now, how do you do that? Because they want to examine. See, because I haven't had a cancer screening because I got my last cancer surgery sometime about 3 or 4 years ago. And my doctor was worried about some sort of a thing that came up in my test saying, well, you're going to have to go get screened for cancer again. And I said, oh, God, I hope I don't have cancer again. That would suck. And it's funny because I called the doctor and I said, when can I come in to get the screening? And the girl said, well, there's COVID going around, so we're doing virtual appointments. So I'm going to get a virtual cancer screening. How do they do that? Do I have to stick my butt up to the screen or something? Or what do I have to do to figure out if I have cancer? I mean, whether it be colon. I mean, if you have colon cancer, what, you shove your butt up to the screen? Look at my ass. I have colon cancer. Whatever. I don't know. I don't get it. I'm figuring it out here. I don't get it. Why don't you do that? You got to do that on Beyond the News. Just, that would be offensive. So you're going to get a virtual cancer screening. Let's see your ass. Put it up to the camera. See what's going on in there.
I don't know if BitChute would allow that.
On that note, we're going to a break. Channel Weird. Oh my God. Rod Harrel, we'll be back.
It's a well-known fact that controversial talk show hosts have recently been censored and even banned on the internet by corporate and political interests. Hey guys, it's Clyde Lewis from Ground Zero. And in order to counter the suppression of information, we've decided to create our own private digital playground called Aftermath. It's an exclusive online multimedia library featuring a social media platform, videos, audio clips, archive shows, research groups, documents, and a news aggregator. In addition, we're hosting other Ground Zero friendly podcasts like Conspirafact with Wes and Bill, Into the Microcosm with Jimmy Jean, Pair Awareness with Mr. Gates and Isaac Weishaupt, Opposing Perspective with James Ponder, The Infinite Fringe with Billy Ray Valentine, and several more shows. Mobile apps for Android and Apple are available too. The monthly subscription for Aftermath is only $10 a month. And don't forget to check out the yearly specials, including the Friends and Family Pass with one main account and 3 sub-accounts. Sign up now by going to aftermath.media. Again, that's aftermath.media.
Ground Zero with Clyde Lewis, live Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific. But what happens when you miss an episode? Aftermath.fm is the official free streaming network of Ground Zero, featuring some of the top voices in paranormal and parapolitical radio and podcasts, such as The Leo Zagami Show, Into the Microcosm with Jimmy Jean, The Secret Teachings with Ryan Gable, The Kev Baker Show, The Infinite Fringe with Billy Ray Valentine, and much, much more. What are you waiting for? Head on over to Aftermath.fm right now and get complete on-demand access to the Ground Zero archives, as well as the works of a dozen other hosts. Sign up right now and get complete access to our study groups, videos, and document archives, and connect with other listeners on our private social media network. Aftermath.fm, home of quality counterculture talk radio. Aftermath.fm.
On the phone with me is Ronnie from getthetea.com. Hey, Ronnie, it is the tea that makes you go, I know this because I use it. My favorite is pomegranate. What kind of flavors are there to choose from with this wonderful tea?
You can do pomegranate. You can do just the straight, which is real good. And also we have a mint, a peppermint. People really love that one too. And we have a couple new flavors on the way, which I will not discuss yet, but they're coming.
You know, a lot of people don't know that peppermint is a very, very good supplement to keep the stomach happy. It relaxes the intestines, and once again, it makes you feel better because it allows them to move around and get that stuff out of you, that bad stuff out of you.
Absolutely. This is a digest mover. So people have a hard time digesting stuff, or you get something stuck, or maybe you're a real heavy meat eater. The tea is wonderful. That's why it's tagline, the tea that makes you go.
If I want my life to change and get the tea, where do I go to get it?
Getthetea.com. That's getthetea, TEA.com.
Fantastic. It's Channel Weird. I'm Clyde Lewis with Rod Harrel. So, Rod, in what little time we have left, I'd like to know, so what is the future beyond the news? What are you planning on doing? Are there other projects you're involved in? Acting, writing, producing, theater? What's going on?
Could you please bend over so we look at your colon?
Yes.
I'm very appreciative of the viewers moving to BitChute. I mean, we show 131 went over 1,000 views. It took a month, but these are views, teeny tiny views, in the big scheme of your Joe Rogan kind of numbers. That joke never works. And Joe Rogan. You have to be a certain age to remember what that is. Rogaine. What's Rogaine?
Yeah.
I would eventually like to put it on a video on demand service is what I'd like to do. And you'd have to pay for it.
Yeah.
Like $5.
Well, that's
$5 a month for a subscription.
$5 for a little comedy in your life doesn't hurt.
A month. No, so that's kind of the future. We've got the 2-year anniversary coming up. We'll put it on video on demand maybe in March.
Should put it on Roku. I'd rather watch it on my big screen at home, so I can see every pore and every hair on your face. That'd be great.
What was it called? What?
Roku.
I'll look into it.
Roku. ROKU. Roku.
Roku.
Yeah, put it on Roku so I can watch it on Roku.
Roku. Okay.
Haven't heard of Roku?
That's Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Be sure to smoke butte. Oh, we can't do that.
Be sure what?
You can't smoke, right? You can't do cigarette things, right?
No cigarette commercials. No.
So
no. What is it? They had a problem with. Okay.
No
they have
sex if you're British.
So okay, so you're moving to BitChute. Do you have the
We're on
URL,
BitChute.
or do we just have to search Beyond the News with Rod Harrell? What do we do?
Go to BitChute, Beyond the News.
And that's how you get you.
If you try to Google it, you won't find it. You have to go to BitChute first. I don't know. I think Google might be making it too hard for you to find Beyond the News. But
so you're back. Are you back on Twitter, or is this something that they decided you appealed and got back on Twitter, right?
I am back on Twitter, but I have a very strange Twitter address at Abra, ABRA. That's my cat. She's right here. But it's like at Abra 56803495.
Yeah, we'll remember that one.
Anyway, we upcoming show of January 19th. I think it'll come out because we're going to celebrate the 1 year anniversary of the presidency of Ukraine Joe. So that'll be fun.
Well, that'll be great.
We're running out of time. I have to say, many thanks to Eric Sloan. He's the rock of Beyond the News, and Elijah Rock, who plays the Right Reverend Vizzy Gotham, and everyone else who's been stupid enough to appear on the show, but always use a fake name.
Yeah, always use a fake name because you don't want to have anybody find you.
I'm the only one who uses my real
name. Yeah, I can. I'm looking forward to hopefully many years of this type of satire. It's just there's not enough of it. There's not enough of it, and obviously, you always can tell when a comedian loves what he does because he just has this knack. I remember I was always saying the reason why a lot of comedy doesn't work anymore is because it's very hateful. Satire, though, while it has a little bit of bite in it, it certainly makes you laugh out loud because it's an exaggeration. But anymore, I don't know if you can even exaggerate it so outrageously stupid. It's stupid enough.
You go to BitChute, watch the latest episodes about the insurrection. That's episode 133. Could be Masonic. Could be. But I don't know.
Have you ever seen the cartoon Inside Job? Have you ever seen it? That's what your stuff reminds me of. You should write for them. It's called Inside Job. It's on Netflix. It's a great it reminds me a lot of your work. It really does.
Oh, well, that's frightening, but okay. But I've done a lot of voices, but I haven't done Eugene Victor. Eugene Victor he's a crappy Walter Cronkite impersonation. Welcome to Beyond the News. That's all it is.
I love that voice. I just love it.
Eugene Victor is named after Eugene Victor Debs, by the way.
You are, as Eugene Victor, you are avuncular enough, I think. It's like the word avuncular always seems to come to mind when I see. Are we out of time, really? We're running out of time?
No, I'm being silly. I don't know.
We got about a minute, I just got told.
Oh, I was right.
So, if there's anything you want to get on your system now, you got a minute to do it.
I really like people. It's like, let's put it this way. I'm not going to force you not to wear your mask. That's the difference between me and you. Not you, Clyde, but I mean the mask, the COVID Nazis up there. It's like, if you want to get injected, you want to wear a mask, fine. I'm not going to force you not to do it. The difference is you're trying me to do things that I didn't have to do before February or March 2020. So again, thank you, viewers. We love you. And, thank you, Clyde, for having me on. I'm glad you're doing well.
I'm doing fine, I think. I'm glad you're doing well, too. I hope that that our health will continue, even though they're keeping us from getting our life-saving medications and going to the doctor like we regularly do so we can stay alive. That's the thing. Survival is a little difficult for guys like you and me. We got to basically plan ahead like 5 weeks before we can see a doctor or go get our medication. So
I really liked your DB Cooper show, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. I thank you so much for that. That's every year I say I'm not going to do another DB Cooper show or a Kennedy assassination show, and I end up doing both of them in the same month. So
this is my DB Cooper impression.
Okay. All right. We'll say goodbye to you now, Rod. I appreciate you being on the program. And remember,
you.
it's Beyond the News.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Have a great one. Take care.